Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Bear down, Windy City. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bears Focus, and today we are getting into something that has the entire Bears fan base buzzing from the lakefront all the way to the south side. We are talking about a 5-time Pro Bowl pass rusher who is sitting in free agency right now at 30 years old, still playing at an elite level, and according to CBS Sports, Chicago is exactly the destination that man is seriously evaluating. We are talking about Joey Bosa, and by the time this video is over, you are going to understand exactly why this move makes more sense for the Bears than almost anything else Ryan Poles could do with the cap space he has left. But that is not all. We also have to talk about a situation brewing on the offensive line that could send a key piece out the back door in a trade to Baltimore. And we are going to close it out by going through the group of veterans still sitting in free agency right now that Poles is reportedly monitoring. Names like Bud Dupree, Carl Lawson, Marcus Davenport, and Daquan Jones. Because when you put the right combination together, you can reshape a defensive front without blowing up your entire budget. This is a big one. Let's go. All right, let's start at the top with the headline story. Joey Bosa, 30 years old, 5 Pro Bowl selections, former Charger, former Bill, and right now a free agent who is still generating havoc in the trenches at an age when most edge rushers start to decline. Let's talk about what he actually did last season with Buffalo, because the numbers tell a story that does not get enough credit. Bosa put up 29 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles in 15 games. 5 forced fumbles. That is not an accident. That is a player who still knows how to disrupt, still knows how to get his hands on the ball at the point of attack, and still has the burst and the technique to make life miserable for offensive linemen on a weekly basis. And here is the part that should really grab your attention. His individual pressure rate last year was the best he has posted since 2022. At 30 years old, the man is not declining. The man is not fading into backup territory. He is still one of the most technically sound and dangerous edge rushers in professional football. Daniel Popper over at The Athletic broke it down clearly. Bosa is still explosive off the ball. He has some of the best pass rush hands in the entire game, and he is a complete edge rusher in both run defense and the pass rush. That kind of profile, that kind of player, does not end up in free agency at this point in the offseason by accident. So why is he still sitting out there? The answer is simple. The teams that had serious cap space already spent it in the first wave of free agency earlier in the offseason. Bosa was projected to command around $11.5 million for a one-year deal. But as the market cooled and options dried up, that number is trending downward. And right now, the Chicago Bears are sitting on $10.8 million in available cap space, which means they are positioned almost perfectly to swoop in and sign this man before somebody else wakes up and realizes what is still available. Now let's be clear about what this signing would actually mean for the Bears, because this is important. Signing Joey Bosa would not make him the engine of Chicago's pass rush. That job already belongs to Montez Sweat, who led the team with 10 sacks last year and whom Ben Johnson described as a complete player in both the run game and the pass game. Sweat is the number one. Bosa would be the lethal complement that makes the number one guy even more dangerous, and here is why that matters tactically. When you have 2 legitimate pass rush threats on the same defensive line, opposing offensive coordinators cannot afford to roll their protection towards Sweat as frequently. They have to account for Bosa. That means Sweat gets more true one-on-one matchups on the opposite side, and Montez Sweat winning one-on-one matchups is not a good situation for any quarterback in the NFC North. The spacing of the entire pass rush improves immediately just by adding that second credible threat. A Sweat and Bosa duo on the same defensive line in 2026 is the kind of pairing Chicago has not had in a very long time, and Bears fans, you deserve to see it. Now, let's be fair and address the counterpoint, because it exists and it is worth taking seriously. Ryan Poles said publicly that he trusts the internal group. He talked about Dio Odenigbo coming back from his Achilles tear and trending in the right direction. He mentioned Shamar Turner and Austin Booker taking steps forward in year 2 of their development. And Ben Johnson was even more direct, saying the coaching staff is going to be better than they were last year. And that improvement starts right there. Those are real words from real people who are inside that building every single day, and you cannot just dismiss them. But here is the honest reality check, courtesy of Courtney Cronin at ESPN, who said it without any sugarcoating whatsoever. Without a significant addition up front, the Bears have no choice but to search for improvement from within. And internal improvement in a pass rush that last season ranked 7th fewest in sacks and 2nd worst in pressure rate in the entire league, that is not a small gamble. That is a very large gamble with a very important season on the line. Does Bosa fix everything? No. Does Bosa immediately make the Bears a legitimate pass rushing unit? Almost certainly yes. The only question is whether Poles is going to spend nearly all of his remaining cap space on this one card, or whether he would rather spread that money across multiple needs. And that is exactly what makes this decision the hottest topic in Bears country right now. Okay, let's shift to story number 2, because this one has more layers than it first appears, and if you have been following the draft coverage closely, you already know part of this story. It starts with Logan Jones, the center out of Iowa, who the Bears grabbed at pick number 57 in the 2nd round. Great value, great pick, perfect scheme fit for Ben Johnson's offense. A player multiple teams desperately wanted, including, as it turns out, the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens GM Eric DeCosta said after the draft that Jones was one of 2 centers he really liked heading in, and that he thought there was a pretty good chance Jones would still be on the board when Baltimore picked at number 80. He was not. Chicago got there first. But here is where the story takes a turn. DeCosta said publicly that the Ravens are going to explore trade options at center, and an anonymous NFL executive told The Athletic directly that Bears center Garrett Bradbury would be a logical trade target if the Bears like what they see from Logan Jones in the early going. Let's talk about who Bradbury actually is, because this is not some placeholder backup they picked up off the street. Bradbury is 30 years old, came over from the Patriots, was a top 20 overall pick in 2019, has 105 career starts, and did not miss a single game in either of the past 2 seasons. He is durable, he is experienced, and he is proven. The Bears acquired him back in March for a 2027 5th-round pick, which tells you how seriously they take this position. And that same anonymous executive made the smartest point of this entire conversation. He said if he was Chicago, he would not trade Bradbury until he knows what he has with Logan Jones. He needs to know Jones is the guy. And that is the tactical key here. You do not move on this trade until after rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp. You need to see Logan Jones operating inside Ben Johnson's system with live reps, real communication at the line of scrimmage, and the kind of pressure that comes from actually practicing alongside NFL players. How does he handle his pass protection calls? How does he manage the snap count with Caleb Williams under center? How fast can he absorb a playbook that Ben Johnson himself described as one of the most demanding for a center in the entire NFL? Those answers come on the field, not on paper. If Jones shows in the summer that he is ready to be the starter from day one, then the Bradbury trade conversation becomes very real very quickly. Baltimore needs a center right now. The Bears would have legitimate leverage to demand more than a 5th-round pick. They could potentially recover exactly what they gave up to get Bradbury in the first place, or even do better with the right player swap. But if Jones is not ready, if the playbook takes time and the transition is slower than expected, then Bradbury is the single most valuable insurance policy on the entire Chicago offensive line in 2026. You do not give away the most important protection you have for Caleb Williams until you know you do not need it. All right, let's close it out with the third piece of this story, because with the draft done and the cap nearly spoken for, Chicago is going to have to look at the bottom of the free agent market for defensive line depth. And yes, we are talking about guys who are further along in their careers, guys whose best days may be behind them, but who could still provide real value at the right price in the right role. Start with Bud Dupree. He is 33 years old and put up 2 sacks last year. 2 sacks in 2025. That sounds unimpressive until you realize that 2 sacks would have placed him third on the Bears' entire edge rusher depth chart last season. That says more about Chicago's pass rush situation than it says about Dupree, but he can still contribute on special teams and provide experienced depth on the roster. Carl Lawson is a story of unfortunate timing and bad injury luck. He had 5 sacks with Dallas in 2024 and 7 at his peak with the Jets, but last season with Baltimore, he played in exactly 1 game. 1 game. The Bears could pick him up for practically nothing. If Lawson finds any of his old form in a low-pressure depth role, that is a genuine win. If he does not produce, he gets released with 0 financial damage done. Marcus Davenport has accumulated 25 career sacks while dealing with a series of health issues that have prevented him from ever putting together a fully healthy season. Spotrac projects him at right around $1.9 million for 2026, which fits comfortably inside the remaining cap. If Davenport gives you 4 or 5 sacks this year, that is one of the best bargain deals in the entire league. And then there is Daquan Jones, a 34-year-old defensive tackle who came out of Buffalo last season with a run defense grade from Pro Football Focus that was better than both Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. At 34. If the man still has anything left in the tank, that is real tangible value for a position group that needs reinforcement. Here is the thing about all of these names. None of them are the answer by themselves. Nobody is suggesting Bud Dupree or Carl Lawson is going to transform this defense overnight. The point is that the Bears need a cocktail, a mix of affordable veterans who raise the level of internal competition every single day at practice, who push Austin Booker and Shamar Turner to develop faster, and who provide legitimate depth when injuries happen, because injuries always happen in a 17-game NFL season. The 2026 Chicago Bears have everything in place to make noise. The offense is built around Caleb Williams with an elite offensive coordinator who is one of the most coveted head coaching candidates in football. The defense has foundational pieces, good players, a real identity taking shape under Dennis Allen. But the pass rush is the bottleneck. The pass rush is the one area that could be the difference between a genuine playoff run and another season of almost. Joey Bosa could be the answer to that problem. Garrett Bradbury could become a trade chip that brings back real value. The veteran free agents could fill the gaps and raise the competitive standard across the entire defensive front. Ryan Poles has built something worth believing in here. The process has been real, the moves have made sense, and the roster is in the best shape it has been in years. Now it is time to make the move that takes it from good to great. Bear down. That is not just a chant. That is a standard. And this roster, this coaching staff, and this fan base deserve to see it lived up to in 2026. All right, Bears Focus family, that is it for today, but I need something from you before you go anywhere. Hit that like button right now because it genuinely helps this channel grow and get this conversation in front of more Bears fans who need to see it. Then drop it in the comments. Do you sign Joey Bosa with almost everything the Bears have left in cap space, or do you trust the internal development and roll with the young guys? I want every take, hot or cold, no filter. And if you are not subscribed yet, fix that right now, turn on the notifications, and never miss a video. We are here every single day covering the Bears the way they deserve to be covered. Bear down, Chicago. See you in the next one.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.